think about all the movies. You just care about what's going on with the characters on screen and what's going on with the story. So, you know, in a more philosophical level, you may think about those things, but when you sit down in the theater and you start watching the film, the whole world shuts down, and all you care is about what's going to happen next in the camera, on camera. So it wasn't never really an issue, right?
Sure, sure. Well, I kind of feel like looking at what the last decade has brought us is all these remakes, and you may disagree, but I kind of feel like the gold standard is like Zack Snyder's Dawn of the Dead remake. In that, his movie really distinguished itself, paid tribute to the original, you know, and sort of set him on a path where he could really sort of create his own identity as a filmmaker.
I
guess how conscious were you of that going into this? Because, you know, not just the fact that you're sort of standing on the shoulders of what is like a bona fide genre classic, but, you know, a genre classic that had so much iconic cinematography and things like that you were at some level going to have to pay a little bit of tribute to in and of itself.
Well, we knew it was tough since day one, but, you know, I've been an audience member way more time than what I've been a guy making movies in Hollywood, right? So I still have a really strong grip on the audience, because I can see myself sitting in that theater, and Sam told me on day one when we started talking about making the movie, he said, like, you have to make the movie for yourself. You have to make the movie that you think is the best movie experience for you. Not for me, Sam Raimi, not for the audience, not for the Evil Dead fans. Like, if you try to please everybody, you fail big time. So you have to do it for yourself, and you have to do, you know, hopefully then when you make something that is tailor-made for yourself, you hope that then somebody out there are going to connect with you. You know, it's like when a comedian walks on the stage and cracks jokes, he's talking about the stuff that makes him laugh, and hopefully there will be out there people that laugh with him. And this is kind of the same idea, right? It's the only spirit you can. It's the only way to approach it. So it was never really, because I felt great about the story we had, and they gave me so much freedom to tell it the way I wanted. I never felt that. I don't know why. I knew when I was writing the script that I knew the fans were going to love it, and particularly fans were going to love it. I thought that because we're acknowledging so many elements from the original film and bringing so many, doing so many nods and winks to the original to the fans of the original, that, you know, I was never worried that they were not going to like it. And so far, the response has been amazing. So I'm happy. When I screened it for the first time to an audience, I was kind of nervous, but then the response was so amazing, and people were clapping, and we got stand-up ovations in the screen. So it's really something intense that they love it. And I don't get the credit. I'm not giving the credit to myself. I think it's just being, like we were saying, being part of the Evil Dead franchise give you a lot of love. You know, when people like the movie, they don't just like it; they love it. Because it's another Evil Dead movie. Suddenly they realize this is not a movie that is remaking the original or just taking the place of the original. It's just a new movie in the universe of the Evil Dead movies. So I think that's the right way to do it. I mean, and Zack Snyder is definitely a good example with that movie. But also, I think, and even I'm not a fan, but of Star Trek, but I think they did a good job with that movie. Also, like, created a new Star Trek, honoring the past movies, created a new one. You don't have to be a fan to understand that the fans love it too. It was a good balance of new and the classic combined together, and that was kind of I think in a way we were doing kind of the same, right?
Mm-hmm. Well, I know that you have talked in like Q&As and stuff about the fact that there is a longer version or a different cut. I know that the version that's coming out is like your director's cut, but first of all, I don't even know how much more you possibly could put in this movie in terms of like its sort of glorious gratuitousness, you know. But I mean, like, what are the differences between that and I guess what are the differences? At what point was that made? Was that just sort of like we're honing in on our final cut, and then is that something that'll see the light of day?
No, I think I start by doing a long cut, and then even before we start dealing with the MPA, that same cut I took it down to something shorter and sharper as a storytelling. From a storytelling point of view, you're trying to tell the sharper story you can. So naturally, that the original movie was, I don't know, 110 minutes, something like that. Mm-hmm. It took 20, maybe not that much.
I think it's it's about 100, I think.
The movie is like 90.
Sure.
The original cut was probably 100 something. and basically what we did was we I recut it just for myself, just to make a better cut, and then that's the cut we submit to a PA, and they give us very precise notes about what was going to turn the movie into NC-17. So we had to get rid of frames. You know, it was just a tongue cut in. We had to get rid of 5 frames there. It's just, I don't know. It's just a matter of frames, actually. Don't ask me why. You have to be 18 if you had 5 more frames, but they were very helpful, actually. You know, they were very precise about the notes. You know, and we did that. We just trimmed down a little bit, so the movie's the same one. They actually help us to do a better cut, because it wasn't, like you were saying, it wasn't gratuitous. It wasn't just because we just managed to expose the audience to the right amount of gore and not being just excessive, which can end up being funny a lot of times if it's just excessive, right?
Sure. Well, is there a chance that will be released? I mean, or
the
do you want
extended version, yeah, I want that to happen. Yeah, that would be great. I think, I mean, the movie you've seen in theaters is my favorite cut. It's definitely, there's not a better cut. There's not a better cut there. I mean, if you're a fan and if you love the movie and you enjoy it, you're probably going to have a lot of fun watching the extended cut, because you're going to learn more about certain character curves, you know, subplots and stuff that usually when you get rid of scenes start disappearing, so or they're not so clear. So I guess it would be interesting to watch that longer cut, not because of the gore, but more because of the story, and you will get more scenes and more stuff out of it.
How much do you have to sort of follow your muse when you're conceiving characters and motivations? I mean, when I was talking to the actors, I was like, I kind of feel bad for you guys, because you're probably going to get some shit from people going like, you said that out loud, or you know, your sister has messed you up 3 times already. You're really going to go back in there and say she's okay? Like, yeah. I guess, how tough is it to negotiate those choices? Because, you know, as an audience, there is a certain amount of enjoyment to going like, no, don't do that. And then there's also like a point where the audience, it's the same thing with the gore, like where like the audience's threshold for tolerating a certain degree of character choice or stupidity like turns to like, I'm out of here or whatever.
Yeah,
you know, how careful did you have to be?
Well, it's a good question, because it's true that one thing is to, as director, just creating the story and do some things, and then you have to, of course, convince the characters and the actors in the moment, right, that they have to do that. Now, look, everything comes out of the big choice, and that comes back also almost to the Cabin in the Woods conversation. I didn't want to make a meta film. I didn't want to make a film where the characters have seen other horror films. That, for me, it ruins the experience. Usually, good films are crafted that way. The best films, or my favorite films, usually, they're in a universe where films doesn't exist almost, right? Or they do, the films that exist are from a different genre. Or, if there exist, it's all about that, like Demons, right? The Argento film, right?
Sure.
But usually they don't know it. So that being said, I want to make a film where, you know, they don't know about that, so the audience do know, and the audience always know, and they've seen other horror films, so they kind of are a little bit ahead of the game. You know, they know they're in a supernatural world. They know something's going to happen, and something horrible is going to happen to them. But the characters, they know. And there's something that I remember discussing with Rodo, my co-writer, all these things, and we realized in one moment, Rodo actually told me, like, right, if right now you get a message, you text on your phone that says, like, please don't look up, right away you're going to look up, right? If you get that message right now, you'll get it. And I'm not going to judge you. I'm not going to say you're an idiot
Sure.
because you did that. But if I'm shooting this scene and you get that message, in the moment you go like, the audience knows there's something that's going to fall in your head. And the moment you start going up, everybody's going to think you're an idiot, but you're not. You just, you know, naturally, and that's something that everybody would do. So what I'm saying here is that when you're writing, if you want to be honest and truthful to the truth, and you want to be faithful to the truth, and writing just as if you're writing real characters and real people, they will do those things. Eric will read from the book. Why not? If I'm telling you that I have a book here that if you read from it, you're going to unleash demons, you're going to go like, come on. You don't going to believe in that.
Sure.
I don't believe in that. And most people don't believe in that. So why would he read from the words? He want to know why everything is scratched saying don't read from it. He wants to know what are the words. He's not trying to, you know, like summon anything. He's just like trying to figure out what language is it. He's just like naming the words out loud. that's what everybody would do. But the audience knows better, so they feel he's like an idiot. Why he's doing that? But at the same time, he's giving you a story, right? He's giving you something to unleash. I mean, there's always different ways to do it. But at the end of the day, if you write real characters, they don't care about supernatural. It's just like great. Think about The Ring. I think it was a really good remake, right? And why does she play the tape?
Yeah.
Because she doesn't believe in that. I mean, nobody believes in it. And everybody goes like, if you watch the tape, come on, I just play the tape, and nothing happened. And then the phone rings, and they start believing in it. But at the beginning, nobody does. And because Natalie going into the cellar, somebody just died. So the fact that Mia was throwing up and acting crazy, that's nothing comparing to what she just saw in the bathroom, where Olivia went completely crazy and tried to kill Eric. So I'm Natalie, I'm trying to get out of this house, and the problem is that Mia is completely psychotic, and suddenly Mia feels okay, thank God she's out of that grip. I want to get out of there, I want to tell you. And she hurt her leg because we throw her in the cellar, not because she jumped there.
Sure.
And Natalie has a good heart, and she doesn't believe in the occult, she doesn't think there's a demon down there. The audience do know. So it's a fine balance, and I think that's the nature of a lot of horror movies. And so the actors were on the same page as I was. I mean, they understood the motivations behind those things. And for me, it's a lot of fun to see the audience screaming to the characters, "Don't do it!" It's just kind of quintessential storytelling, device. It's just like in every child's play when the kids when some hero is on stage and the bad dude is behind him, and he goes, "Have anybody seen the bad dude?" And all the kids go like, "Behind you!" It's kind of like really engaging. And so as a storyteller, as a filmmaker, you love to see the audience engage. So you tease them with those things because you want them to scream to the camera, "Don't do it!" Right? If Natalie goes like, "I'm not going down there," and just walk away, it's kind of disappointing. Eric goes like, I better not read because maybe I'm going to unleash some demons. That would be even less believable.
Sure. Well, if I may just ask one more question as they're wrapping me up.
Sure. I have time for it. This is the last one, so.
No, you have one more.
I have one more?
Yeah.
Over the phone or in person?
On the phone.
Okay, cool. But I can do that on my way back. Well, anyways, let's finish. Yeah.
When Sam made Evil Dead 1 and 2,
Yeah.
in between he made Crime Wave and he went on to make Spider-Man movies, Simple Plan, these, very, very broad sort of different genre films. Came back to it with Drag Me to Hell. Whether you're looking at him or, let's say Zack Snyder, who's a more recent example of somebody who started with a genre film and then moved into other things, how indicative of what you want to do with your career is this film, and how much, not in an exploitative way, but just sort of like how much are you using this as a stepping stone for you to maybe move into either a genre or a kind of movie making that you are more interested in?
Yeah, I would never do a film as a stepping stone. That's for starters.
Sure.
I would never do. I couldn't do it even if I wanted to. I can't. When I did Panic Attack, I got offered so many things, like in 2010, and I said no to so many things because I just if the project wasn't for me, it wasn't for me, and for me, I love what I do, and I'm really committed to make good films. I just really believe in films in general. I think a good film can change somebody's life, like some films changed my life in the past when I've seen it, and they really defined who I was going to be in many levels. And not only if you're a filmmaker, in general, films have a lot of power. So I think I really respect the art, and I would never do a film just to get anything else. I would never do a film that I don't think I can deliver on.
Of course, and I wasn't suggesting that either.
No, but I know what you mean, because there's a lot of that in general. There's a lot of that. A lot of people ask me if I did Panic Attack trying to get a deal out of it, which is insane. So no, it was never. I would never take a film with that intention, although I know some people would. And then it really speaks about how I like to tell stories, and how I am as a storyteller. I like to have that grip in the audience and have a movie that keeps the audience engaged all the time and connect with the story. I like simple stories in general that really keep you hooked. I don't like when stories so fancy and complex that the audience is kind of enjoying the visuals and the craziness of it, but they lost track of plot, which a lot of great big tentpole movies, they do that. It's just like it's just the story's like messy, but there's a big show in front of your eyes, so people kind of enjoy it anyways. I don't really care about that. I think I'm very much plot and character driven. I like good stories. So that's something that this one has. But naturally, just like Panic Attack, I love sci-fi too. So I think that's what I want to do next. I want to kind of maybe fulfill the first project I was developing with Sam, which was a kind of a very grounded and hard art kind of alien invasion story. And I'm a kid from the '80s. I love Paul Verhoeven movies, and all those movies changed my life back then. The RoboCop and Total Recall, when they came out, it was so violent and so crazy for a sci-fi movie, which sci-fi was so friendly before that. So suddenly those films came out. It made such a difference for me. So I want to make one of those basically. So it will change. And who knows what I want to do in 10 years. But right now, I probably want to go and create a universe in sci-fi movie.
Gotcha. Well, thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate it.
Thank you.
And I really enjoyed speaking to you.
Thank you.
So
Thank you.
And I think you do a great job with it.
You like the movie?
Yeah. I'm